Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you, spices. Yes, the same one sitting in your pantry right now. Take turmeric, for example. That golden powder isn't just for curries. It's got a compound called curcumin, which studies suggest can help lower LDL cholesterol and reduce inflammation. My buddy Frank, he's a retired teacher who's always tinkering with new hobbies, started adding a pinch of turmeric to his morning scrambled eggs. He jokes that it's his sunshine spice, but his last blood test showed his HDL, the good cholesterol, had ticked up nicely. And if turmeric's not your thing, cinnamon's another great option. A sprinkle in your coffee, oatmeal, or even on roasted veggies can add flavor and benefits. It's like giving your meals a little health boost without even trying. Of course, what we put into our bodies matters, but so does what's going on inside our minds. Let's chat about stress for a minute. Now, I know, life's always going to throw us curveballs, especially at our age. But here's the thing. Chronic stress can actually nudge your cholesterol higher over time. When we're stressed, our bodies pump out cortisol, and too much of that can mess with how we process fats and sugars. But don't worry, this isn't about eliminating stress completely. It's about finding small ways to dial it down. Take my sister-in-law, Carol. She started doing 10 minutes of deep breathing every morning while her coffee brews. She says it's like hitting a reset button for her day. Or maybe for you, it's tending to your roses, knitting, or listening to Sinatra with your eyes closed. Find what unwinds you and make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. Your heart will thank you. Now, let's tackle something we all crave, but don't always prioritize: sleep. And I'm not talking about those quick cat naps in your recliner after lunch. Grins. Deep, restorative sleep is like a nightly tune-up for your body. When we're well rested, our metabolism hums along better, and our systems manage cholesterol more effectively. But let's be real. Getting a solid 7 or 8 hours isn't always easy as we get older. Hot flashes, aches, or that mind that just won't quiet down. Sound familiar? Here's a trick that worked for me. I started dimming the lights an hour before bed and swapping out my evening news for a paperback mystery. The blue light from screens can trick your brain into staying awake. But a good old-fashioned book? It's like a lullaby for your mind. My friend Ed swears by a warm bath with Epsom salts before bed. Says it's his spa hour on a budget. Experiment and see what helps you drift off more peacefully. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Now, let's circle back to the kitchen for a moment, because there's another big piece of the cholesterol puzzle we haven't touched on yet: omega-3s. These healthy fats are like nature's cleanup crew for your arteries. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, or sardines are packed with them. But if seafood isn't your favorite, no worries. Walnuts, chia seeds, or even a daily flaxseed supplement can do the trick. My neighbor Rita, she's in her late 70s and still volunteers at the library twice a week, started adding walnuts to her afternoon yogurt. She told me, "I don't even miss the cookies I used to nibble on." And her latest labs, her triglycerides had dropped significantly. It's all about those small, sustainable swaps. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but how do I keep all these changes straight? Here's the secret. You don't have to. Pick one thing that feels doable this week. Maybe it's adding a sprinkle of cinnamon to your breakfast, taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply before bed, or swapping that bag of chips for a handful of walnuts. Every tiny step counts. And if you slip up, that's okay. This isn't a race. It's a gentle, lifelong journey. What matters is showing up for yourself, day by day. Remember, friends, health isn't about restriction or punishment. It's about nourishing your body, calming your mind, and finding joy in the process. And the best part, you're never alone in this. We're all figuring it out as we go, one small victory at a time. You know, one of the most powerful tools we have in managing our cholesterol isn't just what's on our plates or how we move. It's who we team up with. Let me explain. Sets down the cup and leans in confidentially. My friend Helen, sharp as a tack at 78, made a point of scheduling regular checkups with her doctor, even when she felt fine. And guess what? Those appointments helped her catch a slight rise in her LDL early, so they adjusted her diet before it became a bigger issue. It's like having a co-pilot on this journey. Your doctor isn't there to scold you. They're there to support you. So, if it's been a while since your last blood work, why not pick up the phone this week? Think of it as a tune-up for your body's engine. Small tweaks today can keep you humming along for years to come. Now, let's chat about something that often comes up at family gatherings or happy hours: alcohol. I'm not here to tell you to give up your evening glass of wine or that occasional beer with the grandkids. Winks. But here's the scoop. Moderation is key. Studies show that a little red wine might even have heart benefits, thanks to antioxidants like resveratrol. But a little is the operative word. For most of us, that means 1 drink a day for women, 2 for men. My brother-in-law, Joe, a lifelong bourbon enthusiast, started mixing in mocktail nights using sparkling water with a splash of cranberry and lime. He says he sleeps better and feels brighter in the mornings. So if you enjoy a drink, savor it. But keep an eye on the tally. Your heart will thank you for the balance. Finally, let's talk about something we all need, but don't always prioritize: community. Whether it's a weekly walking group, a cooking club swapping heart-healthy recipes, or even a phone call with a friend who keeps you laughing, connection is medicine. My neighbor Ruth joined a Tai Chi class at the community center last year, and not only did her cholesterol improve, but she met a whole new group of friends. They even started a Recipe of the Month club. Grins. Health isn't a solo mission. When we share the journey, the tough days feel lighter, and the victories, no matter how small, are sweeter. So, let's tie this all together. Over these chats, we've covered everything from swapping fats to spice miracles, stress-busting tricks to the magic of movement. But here's the heart of it. You hold the power to make choices that honor your health. Maybe it's adding a sprinkle of flaxseed to your oatmeal, taking a sunset stroll with a friend, or finally booking that checkup. Every tiny step is a win. And if you stumble, that's okay. I've had my share of buttered rolls and lazy Sundays too. Chuckles. What matters is leaning back into the habits that make you feel alive. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one small change you're excited to try? Or maybe you've already found a tip that works wonders. Share it. Your story could inspire someone else to take that first step. And if you found this helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're all in this together, and I'll be here cheering you on every step of the way. Here's to your health, your joy, and the countless small victories ahead. Remember, aging isn't about slowing down. It's about thriving on your own terms. Keep shining, my friends. Here's to your best life. You know, I had my annual checkup last month, and when my doctor mentioned my cholesterol levels, I'll admit, I held my breath for a second. Chuckles. Sound familiar? If you're like me, you've probably heard the word cholesterol thrown around for years, but it's easy to feel overwhelmed by all the advice out there. Leans forward slightly, empathetic. Here's the thing, though. Managing your cholesterol doesn't have to mean drastic changes or giving up the foods you love. In fact, some of the simplest tweaks to your daily routine can make a world of difference. And today, I'm excited to share a few of those proven, practical steps with you. Because feeling your best at 60, 70, or beyond is always worth celebrating. Now, before we dive in, let's talk about why this matters. As we get older, our bodies naturally process cholesterol a little differently. Those numbers creeping up, they're not just stats on a lab report. They're a nudge to take care of our hearts, our energy, and our long-term health. But here's the good news. Small, consistent changes can help us stay ahead of the game. No magic pills, no extreme diets, just real, doable habits that fit into your life. So let's roll up our sleeves and start with the first step, shall we? Let's talk about fats, because not all fats are created equal. For years, we were told to avoid fat altogether, but now we know better. The key is swapping out the unhelpful fats for the helpful ones. Take saturated fats, the kind in butter, fatty meats, or that crispy bacon we all love. Winks. Enjoying them once in a while? Totally fine. But making them a daily habit? That's where trouble can start. Instead, try leaning into healthier fats like olive oil, avocados, or nuts. My friend Margie started using olive oil in her mashed potatoes instead of butter. And guess what? Her last blood work showed a noticeable dip in her LDL. That's the lousy cholesterol. And she didn't feel like she was missing out at all. It's all about swaps, not sacrifices. Next up, fiber. And not just any fiber, soluble fiber. This stuff is like a superhero for your cholesterol. It acts like a sponge in your gut, soaking up excess cholesterol and whisking it away before it even hits your bloodstream. Sounds pretty great, right? The best part? You don't need fancy supplements. A bowl of oatmeal in the morning, a handful of black beans in your soup, or an apple as an afternoon snack can do the trick. My neighbor Bob, he's 72 and still tends to his tomato garden every day, started adding a tablespoon of ground flaxseed to his oatmeal. Within a few months, his doctor was thrilled with his numbers. And Bob, he just calls it his secret sprinkle. Simple, satisfying, and no drastic overhauls required. Now, let's step outside for a moment, because here's the truth. What you eat is half the battle, but movement is the other half. And I'm not talking about marathon training or lifting heavy weights. Unless that's your thing, of course. Grins. For most of us, it's about finding joy in getting up and going. A brisk 30-minute walk most days, tending to your garden, or even dancing to your favorite old tunes while you fold laundry. It all counts. Regular activity helps boost your HDL, the happy cholesterol, which acts like a cleanup crew for your arteries. My cousin Linda started hosting walk and talk dates with her girlfriends instead of coffee shops. Not only did her cholesterol improve, but she says those walks are now the highlight of her week. It's about feeling good while doing good for yourself. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but where do I even start? Maybe you're already doing one of these things. That's fantastic. Give yourself credit. If not, pick one change that feels manageable this week. Swap out butter for olive oil at dinner. Add a fiber-rich food to your grocery list, or lace up your shoes for a short walk around the block. Progress, not perfection, is what adds up. And trust me, your body will thank you for it. Of course, these are just the first steps on the path. There's more to explore, like the power of certain spices, the role of stress, and even the surprising benefits of a good laugh. But for now, let's focus on what we've covered today. Try one of these tips, see how it feels, and when you're ready, we'll keep building on that foundation together. Stay tuned for more.